Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What's Up, Cuz? I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lindsay Irvin. Cuz, what's up? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, cuz. But the better question is, where you get that sky blue shirt from? Like I come out with my blue. I look up, you had your sky blue on. Like I mean, what's going on? I mean, you gave up your jersey for a sport coat last week. Now you got on powder blue like your cousin. Are you okay? I'm just wondering. That's all.
I'm okay. I'm just trying to follow the lead of my big cousin. I had on like a army green earlier, and I came in the pre-show meeting. I was like, wait a minute. I am not coordinated here. So I went and found me some electric blue too. So now we are the Black and Blues brothers, brother.
Hey, we are Jade. I mean, you do you know what that MW means?
I do know what the MW means. That is for Metalware Golf, if I'm not mistaken. Our good friend David Swanson's company, Metalware Golf. And shout out to David and Edith. As their company continues to grow, they are continuing to grow. And they will be leaving the Chicago area here in the next week. And we wish them best of luck in their ventures. But the company ain't going nowhere. So, everybody still get your golf gear from them. And you see my cousin laugh. Boy, that shirt look good on you, cuz.
Hey Jay, I put it on. I said, "Ooh, I'm not taking this thing off." I said, "Ooh, I'm wearing this on the show. Feels good, Jay. The color nice. I need to get a couple of more. So I'm gonna order me about 3, 4 more. Get the highlight color too. That highlight green color, Jay, show look good too. So I'm gonna
I
get that
know
one.
your color. So I'm bright today. So
There
you
you
can't
are.
you can't talk about this color. So, but everybody, welcome to What's Up, Cuz, your weekly sports and other topic show that we do from here in the Sports Zone Chicago studios from the great windy city of Chicago. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we ask you to like and subscribe to the Sports Zone Chicago channel. If you're watching us on Roku, the new Roku channel is taking us worldwide. There it is. If you're watching us on Roku, if you don't have that channel downloaded in your Roku, what is wrong with you? Go ahead and download that thing, put it next to your Amazon Prime, put it next to your Netflix or your YouTube TV, whatever you got. Put it on there. Make sure you can watch us on Roku as well. And if you're watching us on the Sports Zone Chicago app, we definitely appreciate you watching us there. And if you do not have the Sports Zone Chicago app, my cousin Lance is getting ready to tell you where you can find it and get it.
Jay, how about they can find us at the iTunes store, the
Yeah.
Google Play store,
Yeah.
the Amazon store. We doing pretty good these days. I remember when you just on Facebook. Facebook and YouTube. Now you taking it to a whole nother level. The Sports Zone Chicago app. I'm like, I really got to clean up. No, I'm just playing.
Right,
I'm
man.
happy
I got recognized, man. I got recognized one time. Recently, I was like, hey, man, you the dude from the What's Up, Cuz? And yes, indeed, I am. Thank you, sir. It's like, yeah, you guys are hilarious. I check you out. I think he watched the Dominique Dawes episode. And he was like, yeah, that was a great interview. I was like, hey, thanks, buddy. So he enjoyed the show. So there you go. So we're getting to be popular, Lance Evans. So be careful what you do out in these streets.
Jay, then we had people sending us questions like usual, but not more questions coming in and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm just happy and I'm thankful that it was your idea, my idea, that we started the show. But it's a great show. We got quality guests like always, Jay. I mean, it's gonna be a good one tonight. Like Nick said,
Should be a good one.
It's gonna be
a good one. Let's go ahead and tell them who we got coming on tonight too, because tonight, it's the 1st of August. So it's the 1st of August. So we said, all right. Time to shift gears here. We give basketball a whole lot of love. We gave baseball a whole lot of love. But let's be real. It's football season now. These teams in the NFL and camps, the colleges, they'll be playing in about 2 or 3 weeks. So we need to start talking about some football. So we reached out to 2 people to talk about football and some other stuff. But our first guest, who's coming on at 6:30, he's a good friend of yours. You go ahead and tell us about the coach we got coming on at 6:30.
Like everybody knows, I'm a huge college football fan. So we reached out to a good friend of mine. I met him in college, Jay, if I'm not mistaken, like 87, something like that. And everybody know I'm an Ohio State fan. So
You
we
are.
made a phone call and got my man, assistant head coach, Tony Alfred, the Ohio State University. Running backs coach, run game coordinator. Hey, he got a whole lot of titles in his name. Been coaching for like 30 years. So we went and got TA and none better because Jay. Ohio State has been rolling the last couple of years. Woo-wee.
Yes, they had. And there's no doubt about that. They have definitely been the creme de la creme of the Big Ten. So I am really looking forward to having Tony Alford come on and talk to us about what's going on. And, it's really hard to get these coaches to come on right now because they really are prepping for the season. So I got to give you some credit. I don't know how you convinced him to do that, but good job, cuz. Way to go. So.
Hey, we've been trying to get him for about a year or two, and I just called and said, "Come on, TA, you have to be on the show." So
That's right.
he been AJ, and that man since he been at Ohio State, that man record is 88-12 as assistant coach there.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. That is not bad at all. So, and then coming up at 7 o'clock, we got a former NFL player. We have a all Pac-10 player, a graduate of Stanford University. So he's a very intelligent brother as well as athletic. And, I haven't met him before, but he's working at an institution right here in the Chicagoland area. And I was like, man, this is really cool what they're doing. And this could really appeal to our listeners. The next college student athlete is the name of the organization. And so we've got coming on our show a guy who can really talk to you about recruiting, and he can help coaches, he can help players. Julian Jenkins. Julian Jenkins is going to come on. He's our guest at 7 o'clock tonight.
7 o'clock.
And he's going to talk about what his organization is doing. And I'm really looking forward to this interview because, like I said, I've never met him before, but I just was reading a little bit about this organization. And I was like, man, this sounds really cool because, they're not just concentrating on one particular sport. They can help you get your kid into college and go through that recruiting process, teach you about the recruiting process through a lot of different sports, including a lot of those non-revenue generating sports. But, you ask us, a scholarship is a scholarship. They're going to give you some money. You go ahead and take it. So he's going to come on, just talk a little bit about the recruiting process, how it's changed, and what his organization does. So I'm really looking forward to meeting Julian Jenkins. He's going to be our guest at 7 o'clock tonight. So those are our two guests for tonight. We also did put in a request for a 7:30 guest, but we have not heard back from them. We sent requests out to Julie DiCario and Sarah Spain because obviously big news today around the NFL. Unfortunately, doesn't have anything to do with football, but rather the rulings in the Deshaun Watson situation. And we're going to talk about that, just, kind of start the show because it is the breaking news of the day. So Deshaun Watson, who was the starting quarterback of the Houston Texans and is now the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, he has been accused of sexually inappropriate behavior with just plethora of massage therapists in the Houston area when he was down there with the Texans. This investigation has been going on now almost 2 years, and today a ruling was announced by an arbitrator who was a former federal judge that both the Players Association and the ownership agreed that they were going to abide by her ruling. And her ruling was that Deshaun Watson will be suspended for 6 games in this upcoming NFL season. And these are 6 regular season games. So it's not like preseason isn't going to count in here. 6 NFL regular season games for the results of the investigation. I'm always very careful with these type of cases because when you're dealing with a sensitive topic such as sexual assault, for both the person being accused and the victims, Um, this is very dicey. So I'm always very careful when I talk about this stuff. Um, but let's just talk about him being suspended right now for the 6 games. What effect is that going to have, you think, on the Cleveland Browns season?
For the Cleveland Browns, Jay, I think anytime you start off the season without your main guy, I think it's going to hurt them to a certain extent, right? Because at the end
Mm,
of the day, Deshaun Watson is probably, some would say, Jay, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So I think it'll hurt them a little bit. But with that being said, though, 6 games in the NFL scheme of things, to me, it's not a lot of games. I
mm.
was thinking, Jay, when they first started talking about it, he'll maybe get 10 games, maybe 8 games, at least like that. But when they gave him 6, I was sitting there like, I mean, good for him. He only got 6 games and he gets back out to the field. But like you said, though, this is a tough situation, though, Jay. And, I know the arbitrator's probably taking a little bit of heat from different organizations and things like that.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, I mean, it's tough, but I know Deshaun Watson is probably happy to get back on the field.
Yeah, and the fact that, how can I say this? The fact that he and his camper kind of relieved that it's only 6 games is something that's kind of bugging me.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of like they were thinking, okay, he may get the whole season here. Oh, he got 6 games. Okay. We'll say we're not happy with it, but they ain't really making too big of a stink about this, and that's what's concerning for me. Not knowing all the details of the case, but that's kind of a concern for me. I will talk about this from a football standpoint. Again, I agree with you. Not having your starting quarterback for the first 6 games is definitely going to be a problem for the
Mhm.
Browns. And they did trade Mayfield, who had been their starting quarterback the previous few years. So, from a team, just a strictly football standpoint, this is going to set them back, and they can dig themselves a hole pretty quickly early in the season. But I do think that there's just something about this whole investigation and the ruling just doesn't quite sit well with me. And I
Mhm.
don't know what it is, but when something kind of is disturbing your spirit because you're not really sure who all is really telling the truth here, and it's just weird. It's just a real weird place to be in, and I don't want to really delve deep into that without really knowing the facts. I was able to read the ruling a little bit, but I
Okay.
really need to digest it before I really want to comment on it because a lot of these times when legalese terms are used, you need to really research this stuff because they'll say, well, is it sexual harassment or was it sexual assault? Was it
Uh huh.
forcible sexual assault or was it that? So it's a lot of little intricacies to
Entities.
this thing.
Uh-huh.
and you don't want to screw that up when you're on a platform like we are on. So we're going to delve into this topic more because we're off next week on vacation. But the following Monday, give us 2 weeks. We'll really delve into this, and we're going to get us a guest. And it may end up being a lawyer, someone who can really break this down for us so that we can give our viewers a better understanding of what is going on. But from a football standpoint, it's definitely going to hurt the Browns. It's definitely going to hurt Mr. Watson in his wallet, losing 6 games, even though he did just sign a $233 million deal. So,
That's better than sitting out the whole year, Jay. But we really do need a lawyer to break this down, also. And I think I haven't heard yet, Jay. And I did some reading and thought about it early too. Has anyone from the camp? Because like when stuff is real stringent, Jay. Somebody like normally from the camp, you're like, oh man, we got too many games. We got like 12 games a whole season. 6 games. Has anyone from their camp said they're gonna fight that? I haven't heard. I mean, I
I
don't
hadn't
know.
heard that.
I'm
Well,
saying
again,
I
that's
haven't
what I
know.
said. That's why I said
I
I'm
haven't know.
disturbed. That's
I
why I
haven't
said I'm
know.
kind of disturbed that they're like, oh, okay. Well, we don't think he did it, but if you think 6 games, it just doesn't sit right.
I
It doesn't
mean,
sit right.
Jay, it makes no sense to me. And I've been around sports for a long time. You've been around sports.
Yeah.
And this one right here, 6 games, you tell me I got 6 games and I'm not gonna make fun out of it. I'm probably walking around smiling. 6 games?
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. But we
It's
need to break
weird.
it down further, like you said though. But I
Right.
mean,
And we
yeah,
understand that too, Armando. It is funny how all this came up when he asked for a trade. And I do agree with that because I kind of feel like Houston knew something was going on just because of the way they settled a lot of these lawsuits. And then when the man asked for a trade, all of a sudden, whoops, look what happened. It's like, wait a minute.
Jay, we
So
said that when they first came out with
we
this.
did.
You and I sat on the show and said, wow, it's strange it's all coming out after he asked for a trade. So, Mondo, we agree with you because we said that on the show last year. Maybe it was the year before, heck. But we did say that. So, I mean, it's tough situation. Tough situation.
I think Sean has got some breaking news for us because and with all this stuff going on, there's an MLB trade deadline going on. And we've been sitting on pins and needles trying to see what the Cubs and the White Sox are going to do. But it sounds like there's something going on here. Maybe Sean can come on and tell us briefly what has happened. Or he may still be trying to confirm the information. We got a trade alert here. It sounds like there are reports that Reese McGuire is getting ready to be traded. Reese McGuire, who was serving as a backup catcher for the White Sox this year, is going to be traded. That's kind of the information that we're getting here. The White Sox are going to receive left-handed pitcher Jake Diekman. Jake Diekman is going to be coming in return. A left-handed relief. I think he's a relief pitcher, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a graphic. Red Sox will get catcher Reese McGuire in exchange for lefty reliever Jake Diekman. Not the blockbuster name trade that you wanted, Lance Irvin.
I'm sitting here like trade alert. I mean, okay, and I know most teams need left-hand pitchers, right? At the end
Yes.
of the day, when you're making a run, you can never have too many left-hand pitchers. But
Yes.
I'm all about blockbuster trades. I mean, call me and tell me Aaron Judge getting traded or something like that. We traded a backup catcher, which I mean, it's okay, but it's not like Javier Baez and what they got traded last year, cuz. I mean, KB. I mean, we were sitting there like, oh, okay. It's kind of quiet, but I mean, with that being said, cuz I mean, it's not a blockbuster. It's not, it doesn't make you feel like, yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
We
What are
did
you
something.
saying, Mr. Sox fan yourself?
I'm saying, well, we found that the trade phone works. We tested the line to make sure that we can reach other teams, but it's nothing that really. I don't see that as anything that's going to move the White Sox forward
Let me ask
significantly.
you
But
this. Let me ask you this.
okay,
Let me ask you this, Mr. Tim Anderson fan. What do you think TA is saying right now about the trade?
he probably cussing somebody out right now. Saying this all y'all beep did. Like you better keep working them phones. But I don't know. We have to be patient. We have until 5 p.m. tomorrow. So we got about 22 and a half hours left before the trade deadline. So we just gotta be patient, White Sox and Cubs fans. There's always a lot of flurry, kind of like at the last minute for these trades. So I think we just gotta, take a chill pill, relax a little bit. Let's see what Rick Hahn's plan is, because God knows none of us know what it is, and we'll see kind of what happens. So the White Sox do make let's call it a minor trade.
Yeah, we call it a minor trade. But, Jay, if you're a Cubs fan, you still sitting on pins and needles. And if I'm Wilson Contreras, I'm sitting there like, okay, I got 22 more hours to see if I'm staying here. 22 more hours. I'm sitting there like, Jay, I'm in the dugout. Like, If they don't put you in the game, you know you being traded. So
Yeah, I
what you
feel so
think? Will he be
sorry for
traded?
Wilson. Let's talk about it. I feel so sorry for this man, first of all.
Why,
So,
Jay?
because everybody know he's going to be traded. He knows he's going to be traded. They already said goodbye to him. You know what I'm saying? They already said goodbye to the man. The fans gave him a standing ovation the last home game before the trade deadline. So we all know he's leaving. He know he's leaving, and he don't know where he going. The man don't know what plane to get on. He don't know where he gonna be living. It's hard for professional athletes when you know you're on the trade block, but there's nothing that you can do about it. So he's just kind of sitting there waiting it out. So I mean, I feel sorry for the guy that this is what he's gonna do, but I understand why the Cubs are going to trade him. And yes, Kevin Williams, we agree with you. The Sox need a left-hand bat, but hell, the way they've been hitting, they need a right-handed one too. So we shall see. But Wilson Contreras is still here. What do you think eventually they're going to try to get in return for Wilson?
You know what, Jay? That's an excellent question. You will hope they get some young players that'll help with them trying to build up their program again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope, pitching is always good. You hope you get you a young pitcher. Like I said, left-hand pitchers are always hard to find. And you need somebody with a big bat also. Yeah. And trading Wilson, I don't know if I really trade him, Jay, because I think he's a centerpiece of the team, and he's a very, very good catcher. Like, and you know this question better than me. A good catcher is hard to find.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, certain pieces you just don't trade unless you're going to get a boatload in return, I think. And with him, he was hitting about 279. He was good on defense. He was a team leader. Made the All-Star team. He was a team leader from what I heard. I just don't know if I give him up. But we'll see. Maybe they might shock us tomorrow, 5 o'clock. He might still be on the team. But I don't think so like you, but it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen every once in a while where, a person probably needs to be traded and should be traded. You expect them to trade, and then they can never find any takers for him. I just think what you just said is absolutely true. The catching position, especially a hitting catcher, is a premium in today's game. And I don't see how they can continue to hold on to him. I think they have to move him. But I wouldn't do it. So, I just wouldn't do it because it's just too hard of a damn position to fill.
Why do they have to move him? Break that down why you think they have to move him.
Because they're in rebuilding mode, and they told everybody they're in rebuilding mode, and he's your most valuable asset to bring you the pieces in return when you're in a rebuilding mode. The problem with it is you're going to have to fill his vacancy once you rebuild. Now, maybe you're looking a year or two down the line and you say, hey, we got a catcher in the system. We think we can develop him. Or you're saying we'll just go out and spend the money when free agency comes around and get us a catcher. Hey, it might be him coming back. You never know. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the reason why they're going to trade him. I don't know, man. I just have this thing in baseball, man, where you have someone who's come up in your organization and put in the work for you. I think those guys are valuable, man. And I think they help maintain the chemistry on your team as long as they're productive. And like you said, he's the leader in the locker room and all that good stuff. So I wouldn't part ways with Wilson Contreras, but I think the Cubs are going to do it. So,
and this just shows you because once again, it's a business, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why players ask for as much money as they ask for because they understand it is a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is. So, we'll see what happens. And once again, everybody, coming up at 6:30, we have from Ohio State University, their first associate head coach, Tony Alford, is going to join us, and he's going to break down what is going on out there in Columbus, Ohio, and the Big Ten season. And, we got a lot of questions for him because college football just got crazy, and the coaches don't have no control of schools are changing conferences all over the place. Nobody knows what the heck is really going on. So I can only imagine what
Hey,
it's like for these coaches not knowing.
hey, Jay, let me tell you this. You know your cousin is an avid reader, right? You know I'm gonna read
Yes,
everything. And we're
yes.
gonna ask him this too. How many football players do you think was in the transfer portal this year? In the 1 year
Ooh, that's
cycle.
a good question.
1 year cycle, Jay, which
You
the
now you
cycle just
told
ended.
you told me the basketball number. So I know football's got to be more because they got more players. They got more scholarships of it. So I got to say it's at least
Talk to me.
double.
Talk
I'm
to
gonna
me. Come on.
say it's got to be
Talk
at
to
least
me.
double from basketball. I'm gonna say about 2,600.
Oh, 2069.
Oh, so I was over a little bit,
It
but
was over. Jay, 2069 players
69.
in the transfer portal.
That has got to
2000.
be hell on these coaches trying to recruit. I mean, you just
Hey,
constantly recruiting. You can't even coach with all this going on.
Jay, that's crazy.
Oh
One
wow,
school lost like 29 players.
wow,
Crazy.
wow.
Crazy. So now we had to
Okay,
ask him about that, cuz I mean,
we
I
do,
just
we
thought I
do.
just thought I'd throw that out there to you. That's all.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. Well, hey, we have hit time for our first commercial break of the show. We're gonna take a commercial break, and then we will be back with the aforementioned Coach Tony Alford, and we're gonna talk some Big Ten football and some Ohio State football. You are watching What's Up, Cuz. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lancey Irvin. We told you the MLB trade wires going on, so we are checking phones. We got different screens and monitors up trying to keep track on who's going where and who's not going anywhere. But hey, let's take a break from the baseball talk because it's August the 1st, Lance. You know what that means.
Hey Jay, I'm a basketball coach and I get happy because you know why? It's almost football season, college football. See, Jay, most people know on a college football Saturday, right? I always try to persuade the head coach if we could practice early during the day. So, a couple of things. So I could either go to the game and watch the game, or B, I could run home after practice, turn on my TV, barbecue, and watch college football. There's nothing finer in the fall, Jay. I love college football. Love it. Love it.
I do
Love it.
too. I do too. So, we reached out, or you did a lot of legwork here, and we know he's a busy guy, but we were able to get him to come on and do a segment with us. Tell us how you know this guy and a little bit about his background.
Well, Jay, I started off at Colorado State when I was in college, right? And I was like, okay, This a guy over there making a little noise on the football field, right? I said, let me slide over here and see if this guy can play. And you know, he was a running back and he was a good person too. So I started watching him. And one day I was like, oh, he hit that hole pretty good right there. Oh, TA pretty good. So, you know, I followed his career, Jay. I followed his career at Notre Dame. He was at Iowa State when I was at Iowa State. Jay, this guy has worked for some killers. He worked for Rick Neuheisel, Charlie Weiss. I mean, Brian Kelly, Jay. Come on, man. What else do you need to say? But he a great guy, great person too, and can coach his butt off.
All right, well, let's bring him on from Ohio State University. It is Coach Tony Alford. Coach T, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to What's Up, Cuz.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You got to see my
Coach
guy
is
Lance.
lounging.
Well,
Look at Coach, he's lounging on the deck, too.
You're lucky I didn't have my cigar in hand and that's coming, though. That's coming. I just didn't have to be too professional for y'all.
What's up, TA, man? Thanks for coming on the show,
It's
man.
good, man. It's good. Lance, it's good to see you, man. It's that's my guy from way back.
Man.
Way back. Good to see you.
TA, man, every time I talk to you, I always get some nuggets. So we had to have you on the show, right? You've been coaching for almost 30 years now. You've been at The Ohio State University for the past 8. Your resume speaks for itself. And TA, I didn't know you've been at Ohio State since what, 2015?
Yeah, it's my first year. Yeah, I came here from Notre Dame. I got to Notre Dame in 2009. And then I came here after the 14th. So I've been here since the 15th season. Long time in the coaching profession, as you know.
Do you know what your record is at Ohio State since you've been there?
The record, no. I know we've lost 9 games in 7 years. I know that. I don't know how many we've won, but I damn sure know how many we've lost. You
have got like 88 wins as a sister. Some crazy enough, man. How do you feel about that, TA?
Well, I think it just speaks volumes about our program. Really speaks volumes about the young people that we have and that we get to coach every day and the way they go about their business, the way they go to work. What the expectations are here at this university and within our football program and really the great state of Ohio, what the expectation is for the biggest school in the state. And so, you know, we not only do we expect to win every game, you have to win every game around here or there's a problem. And so losing is not acceptable in any facet. And you know, we let a couple get away from us last year. And this is only second time since I've been here. I think correct. Only the second time since I've been here, we've lost more than one. You know, we've lost multiple games in the season. We were 11-2, and when you're 11-2, some people are looking for jobs. You can't lose here, man. But you know, I love that about this place. The expectations are high, and that's why you go to work every day, just compete and win.
I got to follow you up with that. So expectations is to win, right? TA? You know, I was a head coach, and I had a lot of sleepless nights, right? Do you find that you have a lot of sleepless nights at The Ohio State University with the expectations to win? Because, TA, I was sleeping about 4 hours. I told my wife that. I was so tired after my first year, Jay. I was like, ooh, because as a head coach, TA, you sitting there like, okay, this, that,
you got all the
waking up at night. Yeah, so talk to me about how you sleeping and what's a good
Well, I got to be honest. I just, you know, I had an interview I did a few weeks back, about a month ago or so with the Plain Dealer, and you know, my wife would tell you I sleep about 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time, and I'll wake up. I might be awake for 2 minutes. I might be awake for 30 minutes. Last night I didn't sleep at all. Last night there's some other things going on last night that kind of had me up. But I get about 5 hours during the season, about 5 hours a night. But I'm good. I've been doing it for so long. It's kind of just what you. And but I don't require. You know, I've never. Even when I played, you know, I didn't require much sleep, even in college. Not that I was trying to sleep a whole lot. but I've never. That's a whole nother story, right? But no, man. You just do what you do, and I think, you know, Lance, you and I have had some conversations before about why do you do what you do, right? And obviously we want to win, but there still has to be your why. Why do you coach like you do? Why do you do what your guys are doing? You know, what's your purpose? And everyone's purposes are different, you know, and when you find what that is, it's not work. You know, it doesn't become work anymore.
Coach, you just hit on something that we know is also important to you as family. And I think a lot of times the public does not really understand the demand that comes on coaches especially at the level where you are, where you're expected to win every game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you all are the biggest. You know, I'm gonna say it, you all are the biggest sports team in the state of Ohio. You know, over the Bengals, over the Reds, over the Indians. You know, the Cavaliers, because they haven't done nothing in so long. So
Oh,
you all are like the
wow.
premier, right?
Well, the Bengals been after it now. Oh,
Yeah,
My
right.
man, the
You
general
said that. I didn't
manager.
say that.
Yeah,
You said that.
TA,
You
because
said
my
that. I
man is
didn't
the.
say that.
I know, because my
Right.
man is
I gotta
general
live here,
manager.
man.
And I have to talk to Kobe Altman from time to time. Kobe, he didn't mean to say that.
But you know, what is it like? You know, trying to balance out a family life and then do what you
Great
do
question.
in your career as well.
Well, first of all, your spouse has got to be extremely independent and strong, because we are from home a lot, especially in the season. And then then you're out recruiting, as Lance, and so have to have a strong spouse, and they got to be very understanding of what's going on. And my three sons I got two 17-year-old boys and a 20, well, it'll be 21 next Saturday, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all they know. They don't know anything else besides this job and college football and college sports and
Mm-hmm.
their dad being away. And so, what I always tried to do, and I'm sure I could have done better in a lot of instances, is I tried to make them a part of work, right? And meaning, hey, if I'm at the facility, come down to the facility. If we have recruiting dinners and things going on at the facility, they can come down and be a part of that. I bring the players here a lot. I just said, a couple of my players are just here Saturday, or Sunday, as a matter of fact. So I try to have kids around my family a lot, and so you just try to involve them the best you can. And then when I'm able to be at home, I'm home. I do like to golf. I stink, but I'm not running. I'm not spending 5 hours out on a golf course and things like that. When I'm able to be around and at home, I'm home. I go to in the off season. If I can go to a practice, I go to practice. My youngest son will be a junior in high school. If he has a workout with his speed and conditioning coach, I go watch a speed and conditioning workout. And people say, well, that's 45 minutes. You're just sitting there watching the kid run. You're exactly right, because I'm there and I'm present the best that I can. And I'm sure I can be better in a lot of areas, but I do the best I can. And my dad always told me it's not about the what do you say? It's not about the time that you spend. It's the quality of the time that you spend. And so I try to make it as quality as I can. And again, I'm sure I could be a lot better in a lot of areas and fastest, but I do the best I can.
And let me ask you this, Coach, because we know the Big Ten is going to be expanding.
Yes,
The
sir.
travel is getting ready to be pretty much all over the country at this point. So much of a geographical conference. You're going to be going kind of all over the place. How are you all going to prepare to deal with that challenge and prepare the student athletes who still have to go to classes and study and do all that?
Now, mind you, we're a little different than basketball because those guys they're playing 3 and 4 games in a week, and so they travel a little different than us, mind you. But I don't foresee it being any different than, hey, we fly to Nebraska. Well, okay, sure. Now I know it's a few more hours out on the plane trip, but it is, and we're not going to let that be detrimental to what we're trying to accomplish. And I think it's great. It's a great situation for the Big Ten that we're bringing 2 powerful programs and institutions from the West Coast. It opens up a lot of recruiting avenues and recruiting areas for us to go out and compete. But again, I'm going to say it again. It goes back to, really doesn't matter who you're playing. We're expected to win, and it doesn't matter. So if it's on the West Coast, if it's in the South, if it's in the Southwest, if it's in the Northeast, in the Midwest, it is what it is, and we line them up. We go play whoever they present before us, and we got to go do our deal, because at the end of the day, this is so far above my pay grade as far as who's in this conference. I just show up and say, this is who we're playing, get on the film, study the film, and let's go play ball. It is what it is.
T, let me ask you this. Is it true, correct me if I'm wrong, against Utah when you was at Colorado State, did you go for something like 310 yards?
Somebody did, yeah. I don't know if that was me or not, but somebody, they said that's the rumor. Yeah, that was, yeah. But you already know,
So you went for 310. So let me ask you this. Being a running backs coach, right? And you didn't coach some heck of a running back. You Zeke Elliott, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. was my man. Do you think the players listen to you more if they know you played at a high level and ran it and played like you did against Utah?
Well, I think there's some credibility that comes with that. And there's some instant credibility that comes with you play the position so that hopefully I can impart some wisdom when I say do this. And listen, I've already done that. I'm asking you to do something I've already done. Not mind you, not to their level because I could never be as good as those guys, but I have played the position and so the mentality of the game, the mentality of the position, I understand it. And so I think that helps. It certainly can't hurt, but it goes back to, as an athlete, as a former athlete yourself too, and you just want to know that whoever's coaching you is making you better. And a lot of people talk about, well, I'm motivated to win, and I'm motivated for money, or I'm motivated this, and that sounds good, but that's the end result. I think what motivates most people is that they're improving. Because if you're improving, then the wins come with it. If you're improving and you're getting better, then as far as getting paid to play the game, then you'll get your money because you're improving. So really the motivating force is to get better. And so henceforth, your coaches, that's our job. Are you making your player better on and off the field? Because if you're not bringing value to them, then why are you there? Rather, you played the position. Now, just because you played didn't make you a great coach. And so let's make sure we get that out of the way. But what value are you bringing to that relationship? From my players. If I'm not bringing value to my players that I'm coaching every day, then Ryan Day doesn't need me. If I'm not bringing value to your and I's friendship, well then you don't need me as a friend. So I think in any type of endeavor that you're in, there's got to be some value that is brought from both sides of the party there. And so hopefully through the years, hopefully my players believe that I bring value to them. If that makes sense, long answer.
No, that's a great answer, because I always thought being the coach, T, that the more players think, I just told my sister the other day, my nephew Kobe plays basketball, right? He should be playing for you a running back like 15 years from now. That's how big he is.
I got you.
But he's finding himself getting better. He's been working out every day now, and he's getting better. So thus he likes to go. So most of us, if we feel like we're getting better, you're going to keep going. And with that being said, Trey Sherman, Draymond Harris, you had some really good running backs. What separates the good ones from the great ones?
Well, first of all, remember when I was draining them jumpers on you all the time? But I opted to stay on the football field. You remember those days, right? No, I'm playing with you. Man, I used to kill your cousin now. We used to go to Moby.
You know what? You married and I'm married. And we're going to get that out there. He's fighting me for girls, Jay. I'm like,
here you go.
You got enough.
Here
like,
you go.
What? That alone? Yeah,
Jason, I went to church 8 days a week, bro. I wasn't doing that, man. This dude fibbing on me, man.
But let me ask you this, because I had a lot of people send to me questions to ask you. Typically, one of the questions I got was how long does it take an assistant to get a head coaching job?
No, wait, hold on, Lance. You skipped the question. You asked them the great ones and the good ones.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
No, back to that real talk. I just think their mental makeup and their desire to be great and their desire to be elite. Because a lot of people can say they want to be great, and that sounds good. That sounds good in theory. But are you really, truly willing to do the work necessary to be elite and to be great? Because in order to do that, something's got to give. You have to give something up in order to be great over here. And when I say that doesn't mean just lift weights. That might mean, are you disciplined enough to go to bed at night to get 9 hours of sleep? Are you disciplined enough to not put bad stuff in your body? Hey, I'm going out to the bar. I'm going here. Or this female over here. Or this dude over here wants to do this. Do you have enough self-discipline and self-pride to say, no, I'm not doing that because that's not conducive to what I'm trying to do? Are you disciplined enough to take that iPad home and study film incessantly? Truly study it. And then when you go to work and you go to the basketball court or you go on the football field or you go on the track or whatever your sport may be, are you just covering the time? Are you just covering time? Are you truly every single rep matters? And I'm intentional and purposeful about being elite and great at every single rep. When you watch guys that are the pro golfers, every single shot in practice, that's an intentional shot. I imagine if you went and watched Steph Curry practice and shoot jumpers, every single shot's intentional. And he knows how it feels, because if it's not, then he goes back and he does it again. Because it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable not to give your best effort every single rep. And I think that's what sets those guys apart. And just their mental makeup in the game. Never too high, never too low, very steady. Steady in the boat, as they say, but they study each other. They study the great players, and they talk to other players about, hey, what did you do here? And then as a coach, for me, and I'll use those three guys, and Trey Henderson's there. He's just like it. When I walk into a meeting room as a coach, the teacher, if you will, I'm not allowed to walk in there unprepared, because you only have so much time in a day. And so these cats are like, man, you're not gonna waste my time. So you better have something positive of value and something positive to give me that I can, and some wisdom to impart on me when I take this thing out here and go on the practice field, or now you've officially wasted my time. And those dudes aren't into wasted. They're not into wasted time, because they want to be elite. And I think that's the thing that sets them. A lot of guys just like to wear the sweatshirt. Hey, I played college ball and I'm a college athlete and I'm a floss and all that stuff. But these cats like, man, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win every game, and I'm trying to win every rep. Or I'm gonna try to choke you out in order to do as such. And that's the attitude that you really want to convey, and that's the culture that you really want to hold. That I'm trying to choke you out every single rep that I take, whether it be in the weight room, conditioning, and actual practice. It doesn't matter. That I'm going to win, and that's the attitude that those guys have brought that I think is infectious.
You see, I'm like, but I have to ask you this too, though. The Michigan game, right?
First of all, we don't say. First of all, stop. We don't say that. We say the team. Lance, I will come through here and fight you, bro. I've known you a long time. You can't talk like that about those people.
My bad. What am I supposed to say so I make sure I'm getting it correct?
The team up north.
The team up north.
My children, man, we haven't said that M word in my house for 8 years.
I'm gonna let you ask that question, Jay. You can.
He said the team up north, Lance, and he ain't talking about Ball State either.
Every game is important, right, Coach? Every game is important. And I tell people, people always say every game means the same. Is some games more important than other games? There you go. Talk to me about that.
That's a lie.
Talk to me about that.
Every game
people look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, every game is critically important. And, different than the NFL, you can't, for what we're trying to do, and there's only a few schools in the country that are like this, the Alabamas of the world and the Georgias and the Clemsons, Oklahoma for that matter. You lose one game, you're out. It's just, you go to the NFL, you can lose a couple, multitude of games, and you can still get into the playoffs and then make your run. Well, in college football, you lose one game, it's over. College basketball, you can lose some games and still fight and get yourself into the tournament. You lose one game in college football, you're out. And so every game is vitally important. However, then there are some that you ratchet it up even more, and the team up north is one of those games. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It's not, people think, that's, funny games that we don't have blue pens in our building. It's funny games that we don't wear blue in the building. I was at Notre Dame for 6 years. I had all kind of blue suits. I haven't worn a blue suit since I got here in 8 years. So,
wow.
No, you don't wear blue. I just don't. And that was one of my favorite colors, right? Maybe when I'm done coaching Ohio State, then I'll start wearing blue again, I guess. But in the interim, man, this how do I say it? I'm trying to be as politically correct and polite as I can, but it's not acceptable to do what we did. It's unacceptable to lose those guys, and that's the first time we've lost in my tenure here. I think we won 8 in a row. And they, and all credit Jim Harbaugh and their staff did a great job. They did a fantastic job. They had their players ready to play. They had an exceptional defense and really exceptional football team. And so hats off to them. But excuse my language, that shit's unacceptable. And it's not funny. It's not a joke. But some games are different. Some games just mean more, and that's one of them. That's
And
the best
I
I can
just
tell
want
you
you-
without. That's the
I-
best I can tell you without snapping, without breaking something on this.
Well, I just want you to know, Coach Tony, it was Lance's idea that we wear blue shirts today. It was not
Now, I was
mine.
kind of gonna, something. I was gonna say something about that, but this is y'all's show, so I can't tell you what to do in your own house.
This is
I
powder
was wearing
blue.
green, Coach. I was
This is
wearing
powder.
green.
This is powder blue. This is whatever. This is powder blue. This is powder blue. But T, let me ask you this, man. I had some questions, right? People writing in asking me all type of questions, and one of the questions was, what advice would you give to a young man trying to get into college coaching?
Well, the first question I'd ask him, Lance, is why. Again, remember I had talked about it. Why do you want to coach college football? And I think a lot of people look and say, "Oh man, the money and all this other stuff," but it takes a long time to get to that money, right? And there's a lot of sacrifices to get to that point and into some of these jobs. And so my first question would be like, why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then I would just tell them to befriend people and do things the right way.
Okay.
And when I say do things the right way, I mean find guys in the profession, older guys in the profession that can help mentor you, and latch on to those guys and soak up and absorb as much information as you can get as you continue to climb the ladder. And then, and no job's too small. No job's too small. Hey man, be the first one to build it and the last one out. Be that guy to say, how can I help? Continue to bring value. Because here's what happens when some of these older coaches leave jobs. They leave Ohio State. They leave Michigan State, wherever they're going to go get a head job. Well, all of a sudden they're like, well, who's that young gun? Who's that young go-getter that got his high energy, that brings value, that brings energy, right? That the players respect is he demands his respect. But there's a way to demand respect without browbeating people, right? And I think people are looking for young guys, and right now there's a big push for a lot of young minority coaches. And I think one of the things that many of us have done, and that's not intentional, I've had to kind of catch myself to, you think about as you're coming up in the profession, who do you hang out with? You hang out with the same guys that are on the same level as you. And then as you continue to climb these ladders, well, those guys are on the same continual climb with you. Well, then when you get to certain spots in your career, I'm 53 years old. Okay, well, I don't know the young 28-year-old cat down there. I don't know those guys because I don't hang with those cats. When we go to convention and we go out in recruiting, man, I'm not going out to the clubs and to the bars, right? I'm taking my old behind back to the hotel, right? So my point of it is we got to be intentional about reaching back. And going and finding some of these younger minority coaches and saying, okay, brother, come on, let me help you, because that's what people did with us. And so we can't forget that we've got to go back and pull some of these cats on, because I believe this is the best profession in the world. And I don't mean college football. I'm just talking coaching in any facet. This is the best profession in the world. And the influence that we can have on young people, and we get to do it. Like I get to do it in the name of football. I get to do it because I walk in with Ohio State on my chest. Everyone's going to listen. That's your hook. I hooked him. I got him. I threw out my hook. I hooked him. I got him. He's going to listen to me because I come from Ohio State. Well, now what message am I delivering to them? Because now I got the platform. So now what message am I trying to deliver to them that's gonna hopefully resonate? And if I don't have a message, well, that cat's off the hook and you'll never get him again. And so, again, it goes back to what is it that you're trying to do? And I would just say that the guys that are trying to get into this profession, what's your niche? You got to be in what's different. What's different about Jason than Lance? So, Jason, why should I hire you versus Lance? Because everybody wants a job. Well, what do you bring? What value you bring to the table that the other cat doesn't have? I say to the athlete who's, like Zeke Elliott, one of the things he did when he got here as a player, he'd watch guys practice. And we had this thing we call, +2. You got to run 2 strikes or 10 yards from every run, 10, 15 yards. Well, Zeke said, okay, well, everybody doing that. So he's going to run 40 or 50 yards because that stood out. And so you would do things that make you stand out than everyone else. And so that would be my challenge to young guys that are kind of moving up in the profession. What are you doing to stand out, and why are you doing it? And then be intentional and purposeful about finding your niche. And if that answers your question.
No.
Yeah. Coach, let me ask you this. The running back position, dear to your heart,
Yes, sir.
how has it changed in the college game since you played it? And, we see this all the time in NFL. They're like, oh, the running back isn't as valuable. You still got to run the ball. It's still an important part of the game, though.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to flip back around? Right now, it's a pass-happy league. Do you think running backs are going to start getting more credit for what they do in the game?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the people that say that it's an undervalued position, and again, I'm biased, of course. Those are people I don't think really understand the sport, and that don't really understand really all the intricacies of what's really going on. And again, I'm biased as I say that, but I think also the game has changed since I played. When I played, man, it was 21, 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. You always had 2 backs in the backfield. You lined up in the straight eye, and you just started whacking guys and running downhill at it, right? And we ran probably 55 plays a game, right? And well, with Earl, but in the WAC, them cats were slinging around way before that. Ty Detmer and those guys, and so the game is spread out. It's such a spread offense now, and you're covering 53 and a third yards, from sideline to sideline. And so the whole game now is to get guys in space, to put dynamic athletes out in space, give them a ball and let them work in space. And so the henceforth that's why all the jet sweeps and the bubble screens and getting the ball out fast and slinging. And plus, that's an exciting game for the fans. Nobody really wants to come and watch somebody beat somebody 9-7. I mean, me, I'm good with it. I'm good as long as I go with the W. But you walk in my house, and my wife was like, "Damn, that was boring." Well, sorry, I couldn't entertain you better, right? So I understand that the game is vertical shots and getting the ball down the field and the passing of the game but that's kind of where it's going. And I got to be honest, I don't see it changing anytime soon. And that's okay. So really, what it's done is your running backs now have got to be such multi-dimensional players. They can't be, like one of the things we talk about here with my guys with recruiting is I don't want a first or second down back. Hell, I don't even want a third down back. I want a guy that can be a complete player, a complete back that we can throw in any situation. And you become a matchup nightmare for a guy that can go out and he can catch the ball out of the backfield and run around. Okay, well, if all of a sudden we want to motion on the empty, well, who do you want to go out there to cover? You want to put your linebacker out there? You're gonna have to bring a nickel, take the linebacker out and put in a safety nickel type player. Okay, great. Well, as soon as you bring him in, I'm gonna motion back inside, and now I'm gonna run the ball at that nickel safety guy because he's not big enough and physical enough to take on the run. But you have to do that about personnel. You look at the NFL. The NFL is strictly matchup game. College is a little bit different because, like Ohio State, we're going to play some teams that we're just better than. We just have better players. And that's just the nature of it. It is what it is. But in the NFL, the talent's equated there. And I know some teams win more than others, but you can't tell me that the players aren't the same guys. Right? They're all freakishly talented dudes. So now it becomes matchup problems because is my player, is Deebo Samuel, is he better than your guy? And if he's better than who you got out there, then I'm gonna, as a coach, we figure out ways to kind of find the fish, right? And we're gonna force you to match up with this guy, and then we're gonna take advantage of that matchup. But that's the whole NFL game, and I think that the college game is becoming more like the NFL game every day.
Gotcha. Tony, I got 60 seconds. I got to ask you this. You're opening the season this year against Notre Dame. What's it like opening the season against a big-time team? Would you rather open against Notre Dame, or do you want to open against Arkansas State?
I want to open against Dublin Jerome High School. No. Something again. I don't get to choose, but I tell you what, Marcus Freeman's done a great job. Notre Dame's another blue blood program. This is exciting for college football. It really is. And those are the type of games. That's why you come to Ohio State. That's why you go to Notre Dame, so you can play in games like this. And there's going to be an electric atmosphere on the night of September 3rd. And we got a lot of work to do before that. We got a lot of work if we start practice on Wednesday. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about that opportunity to play against Notre Dame.
Well, Coach,
See,
thank you
sound
so
like a
much,
head
man.
coach, man. You sound like a head coach in training down there. You should be getting you a job soon. That's all I'm gonna say. Because you broke the game down. You need to be helping Justin Fields here in Chicago.
Oh wait, Justin doing his thing, man. Justin's gonna be all right. Justin's gonna be all right. Well, guys, listen, man. I thank you so much for having me. And Lance, brother, I'm proud of you, man. I mean, I'm so proud of you. And as you watched my career, I've watched yours, brother. And Godspeed to you. And Jason, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. Lance, give me a call, man. Let's stay in touch.
Columbus, I need to come watch you. Appreciate it.
Come on, man. I told you.
Coach Tony off at Ohio State.
I'm coming.
All right. Don't say the school up north, Lance. It's the school up north. Remember that. Jesus.
Get him right, Jason. Get him right.
Whatever, Jason. Whatever, Jason, man.
All right.
Thanks, Chief.
Commercial break, and then we're coming back with Julian Jenkins. At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become a resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JCoinReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My feature stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real-life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out jcoinreports.com and follow me on Twitter at jcoin. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lance C. Irvin. My light went out. I'm glad it went out during the commercial break. I was able to recharge it, Lance Irvin. You got to be able to do things on the fly in live TV. So I'm back, and I am illuminated again, so I appreciate that. Hey, we got a new guest, first time on the show, and I just found him for all the reasons, and I know you all crack jokes on me, because I'm a water polo official. Yes, I know it's like 4 black water polo officials in Illinois. Okay, I'm one.
Exactly.
But I saw him online, and he was doing an event with USA Water Polo a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And I heard a little bit about his talk and what he was doing. I said, okay, let me see what this brother is. First, let me see if he's a water polo ref, and this is one I didn't meet. But I said, let me look. And I started researching. I was like, oh, okay. I've never heard of this organization before, the Next College Student Athlete. And then I found out they're based out of Chicago, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I just really need to find out who this brother is. And I looked at their website and I was like, you know what? Their values match up with what we're doing here on the What's Up Cuz show, is that we're trying to bring information specifically, you know, to underserved communities, our African American and Hispanic communities here in Chicago. But the information is good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, man, you know, let me find out more about him. And you know, from being a college coach and working on the AAU circuit, that the recruiting aspect is just crazy, and it's really getting crazy in 2022. And a lot of parents, especially a lot of single mothers who may not have known anything about this, they need help just getting the proper information to make sure they're not getting taken advantage of, to make sure that the young person, the young athlete's not taken care of, and it's all these different rules. So I say, you know what? This will be a great guy to have on the show. You know, he's also a graduate of Stanford, so you know he's a smart brother because he went to Stanford for the love of God. And then he played in the NFL as well. So, you know, I reached out to their people. They got back to me, said, yes, we can definitely do this. I'm like, cool, let's make it happen. So joining us from the next college student athlete is Julian Jenkins. Julian, how you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas? I know you can hear me now. And you know, I appreciate you having me. Next college student athlete. Obviously, you know, we partner with USA Water Polo. I'm checking in from Northern California, Oakland, California this afternoon.
Bay Area.
Evening, out of the Bay Area. Yeah, you know, stuck around a little bit after playing, you know, pro ball, came back. You know, as well. But yeah, to address the USA Water Polo bit, and I appreciate you, Jason, appreciate you, Lance, having me on. You know, quick story. A coach came up after me, totally unexpected, came up after my presentation at the Junior Olympics and said, you know, hey, Julian, I hope I'm not off base in asking you this question, but how do I get more brothers involved in playing water polo, right? Yeah. He's like, you know, I'm trying to talk to parents, you know, because I need them to sign up for this service, right? You know, but he's a coach, and you want to give coaches their due, which we, you know, throughout the pandemic and beyond, you know, we built such better relationships with coaches, I would say. So he said, you know what? You think about this, right? And you think about this right here, right? He's like, if I could get some coaches to convince, you know, or some coaches, some other sports to convince the guys that water polo is a sport they could be dominant in, you know, it's not as hard as people think. So, you know, to that point, if you being a water polo a ref, you know, coaches ask, you know, how do I get water polo, aquatic sports into the inner cities? And this coach was on the ball with it. I didn't have much to tell him. I said, go to the community center, go talk to the football and basketball coach, and convince him it's not going to mess up the, you know, with their regular scheduled programming, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a great answer, Julian. And I mean, you're fortunate now. You know, I know you're not originally from the Chicago area, and you're still getting used to the city. But you know, the Chicago Public Schools has got a number of water polo teams now. And a lot of those schools are predominantly African American. So we're starting to see more kids from our community play. And you know this from being an athlete, the biggest problem is that, you know, it's not a sport that's traditionally big in our community. So a lot of our kids are starting from a deficit because the first time they start playing is their freshman year of high school, and you're going against kids who've been playing since they could learn how to swim since they were 5. And, you know, one of the things that we also try to do with this show is that we try to push just swimming in general in our community, Julian. You know, we've got the highest drowning rate of any race in the United States. And, you know, I just want kids to learn how to swim, first of all, and then that opens up more opportunities for them to get into sports like water polo. So that's kind of the pitch I give to people. But I think here's the photo. What I think was the biggest pitch was that this is former NFL player Cam Newton playing water polo, and he was playing as a goal.
Is he egg beater in, or is he standing though? Is he
What is?
He's standing in that photo, man.
What? We're
And
not gonna judge
Newton,
Cam.
Cam Newton is no Tony Azevedo. No way. He's
Come
standing.
on, Julie. Come on,
So
Julie.
Egg Big would be he's in there treading water, Lance Irvin.
I know. I was just about to ask, but I figured it out.
I went to Woodward Academy in Atlanta, Georgia, Westlake High School, where Cam Newton went. Is my rival high school, one of my rival high schools. Same with Adam Pac-Man Jones, and so I have to say, I had to put him on blast and say, that's a great photo op, but he's standing in that pool, man.
So, I used to get information. I'm a college coach by trade, right? And I used to get information all the time from this college student athlete. And I used to always say, Julia, like, is this real stuff? Like, blah, blah. How long has it been around? And tell us how you guys help people get recruited, because they need it these days also, because everybody's not a top 100 player now.
So now you're looking at 22 years. The next college student athlete has been around. And we are with IMG Academy, IMG Academy Plus now, which is a huge thing for IMG and also big for us. But you're right. The program started literally with individual presentations at high schools, right? VCR, VHS tapes, right? Handwritten letters and typed out resumes to package and send to college coaches. And it was a recruiting coach that would work on your family's behalf, get all your stats, get your tournament history, get all your information, and then shop that around directly to college coaches, right? And so you got to imagine, that was, prior to the DVD and prior to digital media, that was how people got their name out there, right? And so when Next College Student Athlete switched over to the digital platform, it became the largest network of college coaches that were saying, "Hey, I need a kid this height, this weight, with this level of ability, playing at this, in these tournaments and this level of competition, with these grades, go find those kids for us," right? And so what you could have asked, what you could have done, Coach, is just picked up the phone and called us and said, hey guys, I get a lot of emails from you guys, but I need a point guard, right? Like I need a power forward, and this is the skill set I need him to have. Can you find a guy like that for me? And so we're obviously appreciative of college coaches reaching out to us. Over 40,000 college coaches in our network. That do that. Obviously they do it digitally now. Where they can basically say, through our website, through our mobile application, exactly what they're looking for. And so, we spend a lot of time educating students and their families, working with high school and club coaches. But our number one thing is filling roster spots for these college coaches that are out there. And it just makes it easier for them if they could say, hey, you know what? This is who I know I'm losing this year, and this is what we need to fill. And especially with the transfer portal in place now, college coaches can find a lot of community college transfer kids. They can find D2 All-Americans that can fill a need for them, at the D1 level. And it's all levels of competition, Coach. So, I know you've been, at different levels. And so understand that a D3, D2 program, NAIA program, they'd love to be at every tournament. They'd love to be in everybody's living room. But, they can't. They have to go online first. Before they show up at the tournament, they have a whole list of kids on their iPad, right, and on the app who they've been doing research on for a month, 3 months, 6 months. And literally them coming to the tournament is, you are who you said you were, that we've been doing research on for 3, 6 months to a year, if they use technology in recruiting.
See, Jason, I'm kind of mad at Julie. Let me tell you why I'm mad at you, Julie. Because my daughter played volleyball about 8 years ago in high school, right? We could have used you because we were chopping up films ourselves, seriously. sending them to coach and stuff. Do you all get many volleyball players?
We do, and so just as you mentioned, Jason, we partner with USA Volleyball, USA Water Polo. We partner with USA Volleyball. We partner with the NCVA, JVA. All of the top volleyball governing bodies. But
Nice.
the reality is, I had two different type of people in my household growing up.
What's that?
I had a mom who graduated high school at 15, 16 years old and went on to dance in the Dance Theater of Harlem.
Wow.
Nice.
In New York. She was in Atlanta and went out, and at 15, 16 years old was living in Harlem, right? Performing around the world, right? She had to interview, and she had to basically try out for every opportunity she was given. Right. And then I had a dad who was among the first Black graduates of Holy Cross College up in Worcester, Massachusetts. Right. He's in. So he's in a graduate. He's in one of those first Black classes with a Supreme Court justice who I won't name his name. But at the same time, he thought because he played college football, he won 2 Super Bowls with the Miami Dolphins, one of them on the only undefeated team in the 1972 Dolphins, right? He thought, well, I could just call up a college coach, right? And I could just tell them about my son, and they've got to recruit him, right? But what he didn't realize is that he's not going to do it for his full-time job, right? And who's he going to call? He called Michigan, he called Penn State, he called Notre Dame, he called Stanford. He left a message. That's 4 schools, right? And then by the time that my mother and I, who really kind of more, not to throw my father under the bus, but my mother and I, got after the recruiting process. We had reached out to over 100 colleges. And, we'd heard back from 30, 40 schools. We visited 20 schools in about 5 different states.
What?
We got on the horse. And what that got me was somebody else paying $70,000 a year for my college education as opposed to my mother and father doing it, right? The athlete still got, has to do it in the classroom and do it on the field. But when you kind of have that support system behind you, that, as an NCSA, whether somebody has a complimentary profile, like literally, if a family got on the phone with me, we would help them set up their profile, whether they invested or not. Right. They have that calling card. They have that resume, a profile they could send directly to a college coach. And it looks like the LinkedIn of college recruiting. It shows that you're serious. It shows that you're preparing for the job ahead. It showcases video, transcripts, academic and athletic accolades. And, if a family ends up investing, families may be really interested in the fact that, we have programs for students that attend Title I schools or on the National Student Lunch Program. We have an all-in award for families that, do need financial help. And we can talk more about that. But it's putting part of your recruiting. You still got to do the work, but you're putting part of your recruiting in an expert's hands. That it's their full-time job to help you get out there to the right group of schools that will be a good fit.
So, Julie, before I go any further, let me just put it out there because you didn't already put it out there. Our producer of the show, the Superback, Sean Sierra, who's just itching behind the scenes. Come on, Sean, tell them where you went to college. We know you want to come on anyway. Just come on.
I did just hear about Ohio State playing against Notre Dame. So I'm always I always tell families if their kid goes to Notre Dame, I'll be their biggest fan. I'll sit on the 50-yard line. I'll sit on the 50-yard line with all my Stanford gear, right, and cheer their kid on.
Sean, where did you go to school?
That's where I went to school, Mount St. James. I went to Holy Cross in Worcester.
Oh, wow.
Worcester. Yeah.
What's up?
So you're gonna see Eddie Jenkins at the alumni events at the
Eddie,
BSU.
you know what? I will definitely look for the name Eddie Jenkins, my man. I will.
Yep, Eddie Jenkins, Ted Wells, and another name that we don't mention. He doesn't come to reunions anyway. So
yeah, I don't think he's very welcome. Depends on the particular.
I mean, he should show up. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions for him. You know, it's a forum. You know, the black community is not a monolith. You know, he should show up. There should be some great questions.
We might be a monolith on that dude, don't you?
So real quick before I bounce out and go back in my hole. Have you ever been to Holy Cross's campus?
I did. You know, it was probably one of my first recruiting trips. Where I, because I don't believe my dad's stories because there was no video back then, right? So he had to bring me to Holy Cross for me to believe that he played college football, and he had to take me down. He had to take me down to meet Mercury Morris and Larry Little and Larry Zonka and
all those guys.
All those guys. For me to believe he even played pro football. So. Beautiful campus, and it's growing.
Yeah. Oh my God, I see where my donations are going. They got a brand new indoor facility at the top in the Heart Center. So now I'm like, man, I said we wouldn't have had to practice in that cold and slush and sleet and all that shit back there. I was like, here's where okay. And then they got a beautiful weight room that because it's the top of the hill where the Heart Center is, where the practice facility. Mm-hmm. And they got a weight room it's in the corner and it overlooks the city of Worcester. Now, mind you, it's not the best skyline in the world, but shit, that looks really, really nice being at the top of the hill overlooking it. And then, truth be told, Worcester is actually the second largest city in New England behind Boston. So it's a pretty big town.
And how many colleges in Worcester? 12?
Dude, I was just about to say that, man. We're right here, Julian. There's 10 colleges in Worcester. There's Holy Cross, there's Worcester Polytech, WPI, Worcester State, Clark. Yeah. There's a whole 10 of them. 10 of them. I have a crazy story for another time, but wow. I found out how many colleges there were when I started DJing and I started playing hip hop and house music from Chicago, and the club got shut down because there were too many people in the club. That's another story for another day.
We have to definitely connect so I can connect you with my dad, man. He's always trying to connect with alumni and get people connected together, man.
I will. They'll get you. They have your info, so I'll get it from them.
Absolutely.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure, Julian. My pleasure.
Only on the What's Up Cuz podcast.
Tell you about it. We just naturally connect people. What can I say? So,
Coach, I actually have a question for you, Coach.
What? What you got for me, Julian?
A high school kid comes up to you and is asking advice about how to get recruited this day and age. Without you probably update yourself on recruiting a lot, but what would you tell them? How would they go about getting recruited? What would be their first steps?
You know what? The first thing I try to tell them for kids I really don't know is that look, if you playing club, let's say if you playing club basketball, AAU basketball, I try to tell them, you know what? Try to have your high school coach reach out, then have your AAU coach reach out and call somebody. And I tell them, I can make a call for you. But with that being said, though, this was a question I was going to kind of ask you, too. Mm-hmm. You have to have some film these days, too. So you have to have film. You might have to do some writing and other stuff like that. But I always push the high school coach and the AAU coach because sometimes they could get in contact with coaches faster than I think people trying to do it on their own. But I also know this. That's why I was happy when Jason said he was having you on because you guys, this is what you do most of the time. And you have to be able to get your information out all day, every day on a timely manner because like I mentioned earlier, everybody's not like a Julian Jenkins that was Georgia Player of the Year in football. David Shaw not knocking on everybody's door like he was knocking on your door. So you have to be able to reach out to the masses at some point in time to get your information out. So make a long story short, phone calls and emails and getting to know people. And I'm glad you're making calls. So now I don't have to make as many calls. So now I met you, I'm going to steer them your way.
I'll tell you what, Coach. When I got to a certain level of recruiting, they put stars behind your name. They put you in the magazines back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And what's strange is that what's happening to athletes, and it happened to me back then as well, is college coaches a lot of times recruit players sight unseen. I don't think a lot of parents realize that there was a coach out of Arkansas. I won't name him, but he sent me a scholarship offer in the mail simply because University of Georgia, LSU sent an offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I watched 5 plays of you playing high school football, and I didn't even realize he had my tape.
Wow.
Right. And so now, through NCSA, through social media, college coaches are able to reach out to players and say, you know what, I think you're the type of kid that would be a good fit for my camp. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Come here. I'm going to invite a group of young people, that I think are a good fit to compete against each other. Come to the camp and show what you got. I've already watched your film. Right. I think you're a good fit. I've already looked at your transcripts. I already seen your personal statement. I've already talked to your high school and AAU coach. Come to a small group of players, not the big, massive mega camp, but come to the smaller prospect camp and show me you got what it takes.
Do you guys help the kids with their videotapes also?
Yes, it's what we're most known for, I would say, is not only editing that video, but telling them why.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, every family that ends up working with us, we match them with a former college coach that's their recruiting coach. Right. And so around once a month and at least once a year, we encourage the student athletes to provide video so that we can evaluate the video. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it's a former college coach telling a current college coach, hey, coach, you should recruit this kid, not only because his video's off the charts, his stats are off the charts, but this is why. He's got a great first step, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is great in transition defense,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's a over 80% free throw shooter. He doesn't give up on any plays. He's a great communicator, and he's working on his mid range. But I put some clips in there to showcase that part of his game. That his mid-range is getting to another level this year because when coaches follow a student athlete on NCSA, what they're able to really do is say, all right, I get to see this kid at 14 years old, but then I get to see him at 15, 16 years old. And I might've met him, at a tournament when I was registering as a college coach for this tournament. We have a program called Coach Packet now, where when you used to go as a college coach, you would get a thick packet, coach, of all of the players that were going to be there, right? And now a coach can go right in this app and not only click to see the student athlete's profile, but he can get access to his transcripts, verify that. He can watch film on this guy. He can contact his AAU coach right from the app. And then he can go in there and look at the next kid, look at the next kid, look at the next kid. But then he can stay in touch with those guys through social media and have their contact right at his fingertips.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have Julian Jenkins as our guest here, next college student athlete. Julian, we're going to run over. You got time to stay with us because we got so much stuff to talk about with you, man. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I got a Bill Russell bit at the end.
Okay, no problem. All right, so let me ask you this. We talked about things that coaches look for, how you get yourself seen. But I also think it's important, being a USA volleyball ref, being a high school water polo referee as well. What are things that coaches see players do to make the coach say, I don't want this kid?
Great
and
question.
Do you all talk to kids about stuff that will get you X'd out just as fast?
So, I manage our speakers that go and speak throughout the country because we lead with recruiting education, right? We don't think that every student athlete is deserving of playing college sports. That's not the message, right? You have to put in the work, right? And so I think that's what coaches like about what we do, is that, we're not trying to blow smoke with these student athletes, we try to give them an honest recruiting assessment of where they're at and what they can work on. And so, one of the biggest things is just making sure that that these student athletes are putting their best foot forward. And one group of people out there, they're not going to like this. Parents are one group of people that can as much as they can be an asset to the student athlete in the process, they can do a lot of harm by overinflating and being. I want your kid to play at Notre Dame. I want your kid to play at Holy Cross. I want your kid to play at Stanford too, right? But if you're really narrowly focused on only playing on one school as a parent, and you're pushing that kid's back just to that one school, it's going to be tough for him to open up his viewpoint and see other colleges that might be, or other colleges that she might consider. So I would say for parents, help your kids to keep an open mind, right? And then get, a lot of parents may not know a lot about the recruiting process, but they know how to interview for jobs, right? They know, how to keep a roof over their head and food on the plate. And so they know a lot of things. And so they shouldn't be short-sighted in saying, well, I know a lot about recruiting, even if coach, right? Even if they played and coached and at a high level, right? Be open. Why? Because the college coach wants to talk to your kid. So they don't want to hear about how great the kid is from mom and dad, because they got that mommy and daddy love going on, right? They want to look at the film from an objective viewpoint and find out, hey, is this kid going to be a good fit for me? Because I may not need a power forward. I might be all set with big men, right? And that parent can talk to NCSA, talk to, people at our organization, which kind of helps separate us from other organizations out there. Any other organization is you can call and talk to somebody, right? Not just be on the app, not just match with the school. You can call, talk to somebody, and that person's experience is that they would have played or coached or have sports kind of affect their life at some point of why they do it for their full-time job. So I would say parents is crucial, but from the student athlete perspective, you can't not hustle, coach.
Man, you saying some good stuff. You saying some great stuff, and I think a lot of
can't
parents
knock the hustle.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but a lot of parents need to hear this, Julian, right? Because oftentimes I'm sitting in the stands and I'm hearing parents yelling, screaming, and saying, talking about other people's kids and stuff. And I'm pretty sure you guys tell them, like, that's something you shouldn't do. So just you guys giving the parents education is key, because I know you've seen it. Sometimes the coach will tell you, no, I'm not going to recruit that kid because his parent is crazy. So I appreciate y'all doing educate. Why you laughing, Jay? You know,
because I'm the referee, and I be trying to tell them that.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest reason a lot of parents will, use our program, and or biggest reason that a lot of coaches, club directors, they'll bring us in to speak, and they'll use our program, on the digital side, because we have to set guardrails. And if we're doing it every day and we're seeing kids commit, right, then we believe not only in the product, but the process. So, the fact that, a parent has another adult in the room to say, because, I remember Charlie Ward came to speak at my high school when I was a junior in high school. And, my mom and dad had been preaching grades. Charlie Ward came in there and just said, hey, stay in school, keep your grades up. And my grades was perfect ever since then. He said, and my dad was like, Charlie Ward? Come on, man. I'm your father. And you just because this guy, goes and wins the Heisman, you're going to listen to him? Yeah. Yeah. I know you won some Super Bowls and everything, but Charlie Ward won a Heisman. That's a big deal, Dad.
Hey, Julie, how many kids do you all have in the program?
Man, so you're looking at I want to throw a number out there because there's hundreds of thousands of kids that fill out some information every day, right?
Okay.
So whether it be right? A kid, maybe on TikTok, maybe on Instagram, and they see, and they may be on Twitter, and they see what's called these days #committed, #blessed, right?
Yeah.
Where they'll see an experience of another kid on Twitter, and they'll say, man, like, I hope to accomplish that one day. I aspire to accomplish that, where a kid gets an offer to play or gets signs on a dotted line to a school of their dreams or something like that. And the NCSA will pop up and they'll fill some information out. But I'm glad you guys invited us to have this conversation, because what happens is they'll fill some information out and they'll forget about it. And then they'll come to their counselor at the high school, or they'll come to their mom, or they'll come to their teacher or their coach in the last minute. Senior year in high school, now I want to get recruited, right? So, hundreds of thousands of student athletes in the network, right? But when we have coaches and parents that get involved, right, they're actually able to see it through, right, all the way to fruition, as opposed to starting something. They put a nice athletic photo up on there, but no video, no transcript. Like, what's a college coach supposed to do with that, right? And so as a coach, you may have gotten some profiles, that you say, well, what am I supposed to do with this? So I would encourage anybody out there that listens to this that has, gotten an email or gotten a call from NCSA, max out your online presence, because, that can make them look good. The number I did want to throw out was 95%. 95% of the colleges that exist, all the colleges, have reported having a student athlete, an NCSA student athlete on their roster.
Wow.
Football, basketball, water polo, soccer, golf, tennis, you name it. So that's important to mention, is that a coach has to go in this system and say, hey, I'm checking in, thank you, NCSA, for sending a kid that was worth, reaching out to. We have them on our roster now, and they're going to help us, not only, win, but also kind of be a good fit for our locker room too.
You mentioned this a little while ago, Julian. We talked about the transfer portal. Do you guys help kids that's trying to transfer from college to another college, or is it just high school students?
So at NCSA, we have a lifetime membership, right? So that's the biggest value. You look at your kid, you're sitting there looking at him. He's 13, 14, 15. She's 13, 14, 15 years old. You're saying, well, I think college sports might be in their future, right?
Right.
But things happen, right? Whether it be academics, whether it be injury, whether it's a coaching change, which is more normal than you would think, right? And, the student athlete has a lifetime membership with NCSA, and they can pick up the phone and call us and say, you know what? This coach isn't what we thought it was. This situation isn't what we thought it was. And now, you don't have to sit out, as much as you used to. And we'll have kids that, they're there 1, 2, 3 years. I had a kid that called me, a couple months ago, and he said, look, I'm tired of being a tackling dummy. I'm going to be a senior in college. I want to go somewhere and play. Right. And he had already gotten his bachelor's degree, wants to work on his master's. And we would help him find a place where he could start his master's degree and get a chance to actually get on the field, because he did make a decision, go to a D1, didn't get a chance to play, is a tackling dummy for 3 years. He said, look, I want to play, man. I can't keep on like this.
That's deep. That's deep.
I'll tell you what, Julian. Yeah, you guys doing an excellent job, but you got to tell me a David Shaw story too. What was it like to play for Coach? Because I assume Coach was your coach. Am I right?
Well, he wasn't my coach, man. You got to look at some of these more gray hairs. I know I'm hiding. I'm doing a peppering effect right now, man. Do the pepper.
Who's your coach at Stanford?
Oh man, 2 guys. Never mind. No. So Tyrone Willingham.
Tyrone Willingham
recruited me, and then it was Buddy Tevis and Walt Harris. And you never have anything bad to say about your coaches. So that's what that's what you have to say about that.
Gotcha.
But no, 2 guys that had established themselves. We didn't win much, and so you got to imagine. That's part of how you pick the school. When I advise families, look, you got to pick a school that you would go to whether you play sports at that school or not.
Good point.
Right? You could still imagine that place being your home. It's a good fit for you. It's almost a best fit for you because you're going to wake up one day and you're going to deal with a loss, right? Whether it's, you're losing on the field, right? You're struggling in the classroom, you get an injury, you're going to deal with adversity, and you got to be at a place that, is going to be inspiring to you to be around those people. Coach, you mentioned water polo. Tony Azevedo, Olympian, Stanford alumnus, All-American, came up to us my freshman year and said, hey, guys, you know what? We're only getting half of a scholarship here on a water polo team, and I'm qualifying to go to Olympics. Can you guys at least do a little better so we can see a product on the field? When the Olympian talks, man, you listen. And so, we wanted to be like those guys. And now, Stanford under David Shaw is showing a lot of promise. They haven't had their hiccups, but we're hoping that they turn the corner. But no, what he's been able to do is recruiting is so crucial. So he's been able to along with the legacy of a Jim Harbaugh, which is that school up north, right? For the Ohio State guy who just came on. With the legacy of Jim Harbaugh, what David Shaw has been able to carry over is families that would have sent their kids to Alabama, that would have sent their kids to Georgia, to Notre Dame, are sending their kids to Stanford. Why? Partly because of that guy, right? Yes, they want a winning program, but they want, their sons to rub shoulders with like-minded individuals that are going to be inspired to not only graduate, but do something worthwhile with their lives, beyond football, man. So that's kind of, when I met, meeting Coach Shaw and talking to him, you kind of get that he's a man of character. But he's also, a very poised, right? So hopefully, his demeanor, goes over to the guys this season because we play against USC, we play against other teams, and we don't know if we're gonna be in the Pac-12 again. But
say that for another show.
Yeah. But we hope that Coach Shaw has the guys up and running, and we hope he's got his staff up and running. Right, you got to look at his staff, him and Coach Harbaugh's staff. You look at more head coaches coming out of that staff in the past 10 years, that went on to Vanderbilt, that went on to Maryland, went on to different programs, and he had guys that were assistant coaches and coordinators, and that went on to be head coaches. Those are the type of guys you want around your young men that are competitive, but also hold the guys accountable.
We got to talk about this. We lost Bill Russell. One of the greatest, man. I was, you understand that we all have a time that's going to come, but sometimes when it comes, you still just kind of blown away by it. Tell me your story about the great Bill Russell.
And so, I'd heard about Bill Russell from my dad and his friends, right? And obviously, with ESPN, being able to do coverage, you get to see, snippets of his game and understand how dominant he was. And I played AAU basketball coach with a guy named Kwame Brown, and who got drafted #1 overall. So I understand a little bit about getting my shot blocked, right? But in all reality, I got a chance to meet Bill Russell, and my father told me, look, Bill Russell is not a guy that signs autographs, and he's not a guy that likes to take pictures at all. And so prior to meeting Bill Russell in City Hall, my dad was going there for some type of fundraiser, and my dad made me read Bill Russell's autobiography. I think I was 15, 16 years old. He said, if you read out his autobiography, and he's not going to take an autograph or a picture from an adult, but maybe as a teenager, you might be able to go up to him and get him to sign something, right? Mom and dad was always up to something, man. And so, he had me read the autobiography, and I ran him to him in the lobby, and I rushed right up to him, Mr. Russell, I read your book. It was great. Can you sign this for me? And Bill Russell, as he does, he kind of swole up, and he said, he kind of looked at me angrily and said, I don't do this. I don't like to do it. I have my reasons. But if you read my book, I'll sign this. Did you read it? Yeah, I read it. You've had a great career, but you've done much more than sports, and that's what I want to do too. And he signed it. And obviously, my dad still has that book on his shelf. He didn't let me have it, right? He still got that book, man. But no, I did fail to mention the impact, that we hope to have, and we hope we're having in the Chicagoland area. We partner with CPS, Chicago Public Schools, with a program called the All In Award. I don't want to fail to mention this, that if any coach, if any, administrator, anybody out there wanted to nominate a student athlete for a program with NCSA in Chicago, they can feel free to reach out to us at NCSA. They can find, my contact information. They can find us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, and just say, hey, get me more information about the partnership with CPS, the All In Award. They can get in touch with me directly. But they can just go to ncsasports.org and find our information and call in as well. I hope we do have a bigger impact in Chicago. Like other major cities across the country, COVID was tough on inner cities, and particularly getting back the numbers, right?
True.
Football teams playing with 20 guys, right? 30 guys out there. And the participation numbers, being lower than ever before. We know that if kids are able to go at the college level, that grows the programs, and that allows that high school coach to go in the hallway and say, hey, I see you in PE. You need to come show up for tryouts. You need to come show up for workouts. You need to be on the team because it's a whole lot of other mess you could be getting into besides playing high school sports. And we know that's, been the case for years. And so, I hope the city, is able to recover and come back in this school year, 2022. We hope it's more normal. And we partner with CPS to make sure that happens. And Coach, I'm really, honored, obviously, to be on your guys' show, but how it came to be through water polo is a whole deal, man. which at this point is wild.
Hey man, we ran friendly in water polo here on the show. I mean, we had an Olympian on our show, for the love of God, Julian. We had
my girl Ashley Johnson.
My girl
That's
Ashley.
my girl. That's our girl right there.
Ashley Johnson came on the show before she went and got her second gold medal. So what can you say, man? We try to look out for everybody.
Yeah, I'm just, obviously honored to be in the same space with somebody like that, man. But if you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out to us anytime. It could be even in passing conversation with the coach or with the parent. Just send the information along. It doesn't cost anything for the families to have a conversation with us. We just want to lead them in the right direction because we did it. Right. We've done it, and it's been a blessing. We've used sports as a vehicle, not only to drive education and get it paid for, but also, to create community and to create, momentum in our lives, man. And we just want to pass that on to other people and other families, man. So, we obviously appreciate you having us on and having me on, and we hope that it helps.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm sure it has helped a lot of people. Great information. Julian Jenkins, everybody from Next College Student Athlete. Julian, we're going to be in touch with you because you got so much information. We're bringing you back too as well. But thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas.
Julian, great meeting you.
Good to meet you guys too, man.
All right. Great interview there, Lance. Let's get to – we got a couple more topics here before our show ends. We got some things to talk about. Sean, anything happened? Hold on, Sean. Anything happened on the trade? Any trade? Any Cub Sox trade while we were doing interviews? Doesn't look like. All right.
So far, nothing. There was one just a trade earlier where the White Sox got a left-handed pitcher. They traded Reese McGuire to Boston for a left-handed pitcher. That's all I've seen to this point. So,
All right, got you. Lance, what you got?
Just talk about Bill Russell a little bit, Jay. Right? I
Mhm.
mean, not only was he a champion, right? I think he won 11 championships with the Boston
Yep.
Celtics. He won 2 as a player coach, but what he meant for the civil rights movement, Jay, and I always
Yes.
remember the picture with I think him, Kareem, Jim Brown, and them standing there and stuff
Mhm.
like that. I mean, he's a champion on the court and off the court, Jay, and some of the stuff that he had to endure being in the city of Boston stuff. Can you imagine you out playing or doing an interview, something like that, and people throwing feces in your bed and stuff like that? And he was not only a good player, but a good person. So I think just in the field of basketball, I know I owe him because he paved the way for not only myself, but for most of the other players that play the games, right? You know how people say pay it forward? He did more than
Mhm.
pay it forward now. So just I think he'd be missed. And I think, Jay, I can't say enough how I feel about him. And I never met him, but that's one of the people I wish I could have met. Like him, Wilt Chamberlain, like they never really talk about them on a Mount Rushmore, right? I get it. But those two, they need to be somewhere on the Mount Rushmore. Somewhere,
I agree.
Jay. I mean,
I agree.
just for what
I
they
agree.
did for the game.
Yeah, what they did in playing in the circumstances and the way the society was at that time is unbelievable, man. They just have each generation I think has a certain skill set, but that
Good point.
generation had a lot of intestinal fortitude to
Hmm.
deal with a lot of the nonsense that they had to deal with. And today, these athletes face a little bit of adversity and they ready to quit and going crazy and all that. I'm like, man, please, you would have never worked back in the 70s because these men and women went through some stuff. So, all right, we got a couple more topics that I want to get to. Just real quick, baseball.
Yeah.
There was a rumor that the White Sox were trying to trade for Ohtani. I don't know if this was true or not. I'm nervous about even saying this because the White Sox have a reputation the last few years of saying, well, we tried to get this guy. We didn't get him. Well, we offered this guy this much money in free agency. He wouldn't sign with us. So there are reports out there that they did try to get Ohtani, but why are we reporting what you tried to do? Get something done for the love of God.
I mean, Jay, how many times have you heard I tried to make a trade? Like you said, no, I'm not falling for that just so you can say, well, at least we made a phone call. No. Get something done.
That's right.
Then tell me what you're trying to do. I'm not gonna say a good player, Jay. He's a
He's
great
great.
player. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Would you trade for him? And what would you
Oh,
give up for him?
heck yeah. Are you
What would you
kidding
give
me?
up for him?
A
You giving up
lot.
Eloy? You giving up
Yeah, I'm giving
Eloy
up Eloy.
for him?
I'm giving up Eloy. Yeah, I'm giving up Eloy. I'm giving up Eloy. I'm giving up Yo-Yo. I already told you I'm giving up a whole lot of these dudes who can't stay healthy. They're the first ones I'm moving because they can't stay healthy. Ohtani playing 2 damn positions and he ain't pitching and playing the field. And he ain't got nearly the amount of injury history as some of the players on the White Sox do. Now, here's the one that's making everybody mad because I said it. Jose Abreu contract run out after this year, man.
I was going. Bring
Paul
his
can play
name up.
first base, dog. And I get where y'all coming from, but are we gonna win the World Series this year? Probably not. If we ain't, why I'm holding on to him?
So why
That's
you
all I'm
wanna
gonna say.
why you want to move Jose Abreu?
It's not that
Break
I
it
want
down.
to. The situation has dictated it because they have not played well. Now, here's it. So everybody's caught up in, well, we got a chance to make the playoffs. Yes, we do. And we're still in a terrible division, and we should be winning this thing by 15 games.
Okay,
But
cool.
we're
We on the
not.
same page.
So I'm cool with that. But understand, who we gonna beat in the playoffs? You ain't beating Houston in no series. You ain't beating the Yankees in no series. Come on, man. I'm realistic, and I love the White Sox more than any other sports team. But I see we don't have the makeup. We just don't have it. I'm sorry. So what am I holding on to?
Because Jay, sometimes you gotta go backwards before you go forward.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes,
And you also sometimes got to shoot a hostage to let everybody else know I will move your ass.
Somebody has to be a casualty of war. I hate saying it like that way, but I work for a coach that used to tell us that all the time. Somebody's gonna be a casualty of war. And I know sometimes, Jay, I used to say this about myself. Sometimes you a setup person for the next man that's coming. And that's okay. That's just sports. But if you could get a player like Ohtani, you almost have to do the deal. That's like, unless you're giving up the whole farm. That's like the Kevin Durant trade. Like, you can't give up the whole farm for KD if you're not gonna have nothing left. You can't do that. But with that being said, though, exactly, you have to do something, and somebody is leaving. That's just the nature of this business.
Yeah, and they did it to themselves because they didn't perform. So I'm sorry. All right, moving right along. Hey, man, this is a fun topic here. A kind of a creative idea that I found that's going around online. I want to get your thoughts on this. A uniform switch, which I think this is the coolest thing ever.
Hey,
so you have a White Sox uniform, but it's in the Bulls colors and paraphernalia. And then you have a Bulls uniform using the White Sox colors and their designs. What you think of this idea if they were to pull this off?
Jason, cold-blooded. That's one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time. That, like, the Bulls uniform on the Sox look a little more. It looks nicer to me than the Bulls uniform itself, right? And that gray, that gray on the Bulls, Jay, kind of bring it out a little bit too. I love that, Jay. That's 100%. You know how they do hit it and miss it on some of these shows?
Yeah, that's
a ooh, woo.
I mean, I gotta admit, I like the one Tim Anderson will be wearing better. I don't know if it's because the extra bull on the helmet. I just like that design better as a baseball.
That's it, cuz. That's it. It's the bull.
I think that might be it. And I would wonder what the White Sox one on the Bulls would look like if they went and did it in the white pinstripe version.
That gray look classy, cuz.
That gray is classic, though. Do they look too much like the San Antonio Spurs, though?
Yes and no. You know, the Spurs have different piping on the side and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that uniform right there is classy.
That was sweet.
That's not. It's better than the pumpkin people eaters you showed me. The pumpkin pie stuff you showed me last week. The orange crush. Stuff like that.
All right. Now I gotta be nasty. Okay. So I wrote a story on jcoydenreports.com. Everybody go visit my website. I'm just tired of this nonsense. So an idiot is, for lack of a better word, by the name of Anthony Blaze Bekovic out of Maryland. We've gone through this with these female sports reporters and these mostly middle-aged, older white men making comments about either their bodies or what they're wearing.
Okay.
And it never leads to a good place. Like, you should really just stop doing this. Dan McNeil got fired from the school for doing this stuff. Dan Bernstein got in trouble. Stop saying this stuff about these female sports reporters, and they go through a lot. The amount of vitriol that is sent to them through social media on a daily basis will blow your mind. Just the violent stuff people are tweeting at them, the sexually explicit stuff. So anyway, this idiot decides to tweet this to Sierra Santos, who used to be here in Chicago. She's now on the MLB network. Sierra, tonight is the first time I have ever saw you on MLB, bad English. My observation is you dress like you are going to a club or are on a corner of the street waiting to be picked up. Never did I think the show was about baseball. What a laugh. What a joke. Well, Anthony, the joke is now on you because social media has ripped his ass apart, especially because when you look at his Twitter handles, one of the things he says in there, it is maybe hard to see, is, kind of never accept no as an answer. Dude,
No is not
you
an
need to ease up for real, for real. Like, what are you talking about? And you're married. He went on there and said, "Well, I'm married and I got 2 daughters." And people are like, "What do you think your daughters are thinking of you right now? What is your wife thinking of you right now?" And these female sports reporters go through a lot. I mean, this just happened in 2018. The young lady was reporting live from the World Cup in Russia. A man walks up to her on the street, grabs her breast, and kisses her on the cheek on live TV. And, this stuff happens a lot, man, a whole lot to these female sports reporters. There was a reporter a couple years ago. She was covering like a marathon race, and the dude ran by her and smacked her on the behind on live TV. What is wrong with these dudes out here, man? We got to seriously start putting these guys in check. You have to ostracize them, put them out there publicly, and this guy tried to hide behind his little Twitter name. That wasn't happening, man. So, I tracked down his real name, found out everything about him, found about his job. So, of course, now he don't want to say nothing. I offered him a chance to reply in my story. He didn't want to talk then. It's okay to talk about this woman as I'm sitting behind my keyboard. But when the reporter called me or reached out to me, I don't have nothing to say. I was like, yeah, man, because I'm going to tell you, your wife going to find out.
He was tough until it came time to be tough.
He's a thumb thug. So Sierra Santos, dude, she is hilarious. That's why I love her. I texted her earlier, and I was just making. She thought it was hilarious, and so look at her response.
There you go, Sarah. There you go. And I'm just like, look, man, if her job doesn't have a problem with what she's wearing and she feels confident in it and she likes wearing it, why you care? It ain't your damn wife. Shut your ass up. You're 63 years old. What you looking at her for anyway, dog? You ain't even supposed to be looking at her like that.
But Jay, the man has 39 followers. Stop getting the man some more followers. See, I'm not gonna comment about it.
He paid the band. He get to do the dance. That's the way I look at it. Did nobody ask you to say nothing?
Exactly. I'm gonna let you have that. Hey, Sean, you can roll with that all day, cuz I'm not even gonna comment about the game.
People are just
With 39 followers,
stupid, man. Like, you put yourself out there. You wanted your 10 minutes of fame. Here go your 10 minutes of fame. Okay.
Yeah, he should have jumped on the show. He should have jumped on the show.
I offered him the chance. He wanted to talk to me. He blocked me. I like, okay, you do realize I got your home phone number. But okay, cool. It's like people forget I'm an investigative reporter. Oh, I just block him. Now, when I show up at your, all right, never mind. Anyway, so, this idiot of the day, but just, I just hate that people do this to these female reporters because I know that they're out there in a male-dominated industry. And our girl Maya has talked about this, before. Maya used to work at the Score and WVON and all this stuff. And, Maya knows her sports, but she's had to deal with a lot of this BS from these guys. And I'm just like, dude, shut up. Ain't nobody even talking to you. So, he wanted the attention. There you go. You got the attention. All right. What can I say? Sad news. I found out our former guest, Aaron Lee, and I'm sorry it's taking me a while to get to this, but I said I'm not going to wait any longer. We just had Aaron Lee on our show a few months ago. For those of you who are watching, he created the movie Dream Chaser. Remember, Lance? And, it's about the basketball player out of Chicago. And he had his big premiere in May down at the movie theaters on Roosevelt Road. I think those are AMC theaters. I was given an invite. Unfortunately, I came down with COVID, could not go. And I found out that Aaron passed away.
Are you serious?
June the 30th, unexpectedly after a short illness. He was having some health issues, but he was a very determined guy. He got the movie done, was out doing all the promotions, and he passed away in late June. I didn't find out until about 2 or 3 weeks after his passing through our guy, Evan Moore, who kind of confirmed it for me, and I was just stunned. The movie is done. It is completed. They are working to get it distributed.
Okay.
And when that information is given to us, of course, we will distribute it to our fan base. And I would definitely be purchasing the movie. If it's in theaters, I'll go see it. If it's on Amazon Prime, I'll pay for it to just support Aaron's dream and his legacy. And just really sad news, man. I was really hurt to find that out, man, because he was a great guest when he came on our show, man.
He was good. In anytime, Jay, you hear about somebody losing a life, you know it's sad. And I'm glad he completed the movie that he set out to complete. And you know, just praying for him and the family. I'm glad that you brought it up because I really didn't know. But he was a really good guest. It seemed like he was a good person.
Yeah, a really cool guy, man. A young reporter. You know how I feel about my young black journalists, man. I try to support them as much as we can. And currently, right now, out in Las Vegas, the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists are having their big convention out in Las Vegas. So that'll be going on all week out there. So just a lot of stuff going on today. It was a very busy day. So a lot of information we want to bring to you all on tonight's show. Now, next week, we are not having a show. We are both going to be on vacation. So there is no show next week. But we will be back the following Monday, which is the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
That will be our next show. So our next show live will be August the 15th. We will have more guests, more topics, but we're definitely going to hit on the Deshaun Watson case in more full depth because I want to give it the justice it deserves because it's a lot going on here that I'm not comfortable with that took place, and it's kind of like they just came out like, well, here's the result, take it or leave it, play football, and I'm like, whoa, slow down here, people. So we're gonna take our time with this and really kind of delve into that. So that'll be our topic in the next 2 weeks. Lance and I'll be matching colors again, I'm assuming. I don't know.
Hey.
We're wearing azul. Remember, I'm taking Espanol, so blue is azul.
Nice.
Lance.
Nice. Team up north. How do you say team up north?
They wear azul and amarillo. Did I get yellow right, Sean? Amarillo? I think I got it right. Azul and amarillo.
Amarillo.
There you go, amarillo. I'm trying to roll these damn L's and R's and getting tongue-tied, but I'm getting there.
Roll it. Say it's almost that time, huh, cuz?
It is that time. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to What's Up, Cuz. We will see you once again in 2 weeks. Everybody be safe out there. Peace.
Woo!
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, we will march on till victory march on to victory. Let us march on to victory.